This is 12 on your side tonight.
Now at 7, Richmond school board members are meeting to figure out how to diversify the city's specialty schools. John Hood is live with what we can expect.
And a busy week ahead in D.C. as the House and Senate work to avoid a government shutdown. We have the latest from our Washington newsroom.
Plus, another hot day, but relief is on the way for Central Virginia. Meteorologist Ross Runner in the First Alert Weather Center tracking cooler temperatures. We thank you so much for joining us tonight at 7.
We have a lot to get to, but we start with breaking news. It's a story we've been following for more than a week now. American cave explorer Mark Dickey has been rescued from a deep cave in Turkey. About 9 days ago, Dickey became ill during his expedition and couldn't keep going. This is video from the rescue operation, which included nearly 200 first responders from 8 countries. Rescuers carried Dickey out from that cave on a stretcher.
Now to Richmond, where school leaders are looking at ways to diversify its 5 specialty schools. This is coming after a report found the schools do not reflect the division's enrollment. John
Hood joining us live from the school board meeting right now. And John, tell us about the options they're discussing.
Yeah, hey, Curt, Jasmine, well, like you said, that meeting's still happening right now at Huguenot High School. But these options are centered around increasing admissions rates for economically disadvantaged students. Now, according to that initial report, RPS says in some cases, the specialty and governor schools grossly underserved Black students, English language learners, and students with individualized education plans. But where it is particularly underrepresented are economically disadvantaged students. Now, after getting feedback from the community, Superintendent Jason Cameras is presenting 3 options to the board tonight. His recommendation plan would have 3 phases when it comes to admission. Phase 1 would accept the top 3 scoring students from each one of Richmond's 8 middle schools and 3 from homeschooled students. The next set of offers would go to the next highest scoring economically disadvantaged students until the number of that group of students make up 50% of that year's cohort. Now, the remaining seats would then go to the next highest scoring RPS students regardless of status. Now, right now, they're still finishing up public commenting. We've already heard from some people who say they're for this admission change, while others say they are not. We'll have much more coverage for you tonight later on the news at 11. For now, on your side in Richmond, John Hood, NBC 12 News.
Okay, John, thank you. Let's take a look from Skycam right now as the sun's starting to set. It's been another hot, humid day across Richmond, but tonight, all eyes on the tropics as Hurricane Lee begins to strengthen again in the Atlantic.
Meteorologist Ross Runner with us in the First Alert Weather Center. So, Ross, the big question, where is Lee right now?
Well, Jasmine and Curt, the storm is north of Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, and it's a Category 3 storm. Definitely a major hurricane out here, packing winds of 115 miles per hour. It's not moving very fast, though, off to the west and northwest at just 7 miles per hour, and the movement is going to be slow over the next day or two. You can see it's gradually going to start to make a turn, though, to the north with time, and this is a much anticipated turn away from the United States. Now, it will weaken in time, may strengthen a bit in the short term, but then weakening the farther north that it goes, it's going to encounter some wind shear, some higher level winds that will help to shear the system apart just a bit. Also moving over some cooler water, but notice it passes west of Bermuda and east of the U.S. mainland. However, down the road, as we get towards the weekend, there are some signs that it may come close enough to eastern New England to produce some gusty winds and some squally, rainy conditions up there. So again, eastern New England could see some impacts. For us, it would be a high rip current risk as we head into the week, and also some, big waves, battering waves coming up along the shoreline. Now, back here at home, it's been a quiet day across Central Virginia. We are tracking a front, though, that is going to bring about some very pleasant changes in our weather later this week. I'll have much more on that in your complete First Alert forecast in just a bit. Jasmine, Curt?
Thanks, Ross, and we're always on your side wherever you are with the First Alert Weather app. You can track the forecast and get real-time alerts. Download it for free in your app store. Now at 7, the FDA approved updated COVID-19 booster shots. The vaccine is formulated to target the XBB.1.5 subvariant, and it's expected to be available later this week after the CDC gives the green light. The FDA says anyone 5 and up can get that updated shot. If you've already been vaccinated, you should wait 2 months to get the new booster.
Up to the minute at 7, a former Henrico Catholic school teacher facing more than a dozen felonies accused of inappropriately touching several girls. 28-year-old Darrow taught 3rd grade at Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic School. He was removed from the classroom in May when those accusations came to light. He was hired last January, and the school says went through a thorough background check. He faces a judge September 19th.
A Henrico mom indicted on 2 charges in the death of her young daughter. 33-year-old Kishunda Chappell faces 1 count each of first-degree murder and child abuse. A search warrant shows police were called to her home on Plymouth Drive more than 2 months ago. Chappell, who was detoxing at the time, told police she was cleaning, put her 3-year-old on the couch and then took a nap. When she woke up, the child was blue and not breathing. Police say Chappell told them her child may have eaten her crushed up pills, or the child could have consumed pills from a man who stayed the night before.
In Richmond, real estate assessments arriving and some homeowners not pleased. The average tax rate in the city showing a slower increase than in years past. Now it's 7.7%. Some are still seeing higher rates depending on location, and those high rates show the city is growing. There is an appeals process if you think your assessment is incorrect. You can find the link on NBC12.com.
The annual Patriots Day ceremony at the Virginia War Memorial in Richmond, honoring those lives lost in 2001. Today's event is an educational moment for younger generations who may not fully understand the magnitude of that horrific day. Local first responders with ties to that day 22 years ago spoke about the impact it's had on them then and now. Now let's get to the latest major headlines out of our nation's capital, where lawmakers are back from the August recess.
Washington correspondent Josh Rultenberg is in our D.C. newsroom with the latest tonight.
And Josh, Congress is now back and facing a looming deadline at the end of the month. This is to fund the government. So what are the odds of a government shutdown?
Yeah, good evening, Jasmine and Curt. So as of right now, there are 19 days left on the calendar between now and September 30th. That's when the fiscal year and the federal government runs out of money. However, there's only 11 working days for the House to actually do its business in between now and then. So as of right now, there is no agreement on any long-term spending bill as of right now. And the reason for that is 2 things. Number one, as we said, the fiscal year begins October 1st. That's number one. So this always comes up every single year. But the other is that President Biden and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy had an agreement in May when it came to keeping spending flat for next year. Now, this was something that House Republicans agreed upon at the time, but have since backtracked on that. And every one of their appropriations bills that they have marked up so far have been at lower spending levels. So the question will be is, can there be some sort of stopgap funding bill that comes at the end of the month that could last maybe 4 or 6 weeks? So to give them more time to ultimately negotiate on a long-term deal. As of right now, there is no agreement on a short-term deal either, so the clock continues to tick.
And Josh, today marks the 22nd anniversary of 9/11. Can you fill us in on how the president and vice president commemorated this day?
Yeah, so the president was in Anchorage, Alaska, coming back from that trip with the G20 in Asia. Also, the First Lady was in Arlington, Virginia. She was at a wreath laying at the Pentagon Memorial. The vice president was in Manhattan at Ground Zero, where there is a yearly ceremony as far as commemorating what happened in New York City. And then also the second gentleman of the United States, he was in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Of course, the plane that went down there was headed here for Washington at the U.S. Capitol. President Biden at a joint military base in Anchorage, and he talked about how they will never forget this day and they will continue to try to prevent any future attack from happening.
Thank you so much, Josh, and we will talk to you soon and get more updates from the Capitol. Thanks again.
And as Josh mentioned, today the country marks 22 years since those deadly attacks. And tonight, we're hearing from a West End man who survived to tell the story.
And another look at the temperatures across central Virginia. Meteorologist Ross Runner in the First Alert Weather Center timing out your night when we return at 7.
People who do heroic things often don't like to talk about it. That was certainly the case with a man I first met back in 2021 in Richmond's West End. His neighbors know him as the friendly retiree with the well-manicured yard who lives at the end of the cul-de-sac. What many of his neighbors don't know, though, is that back on 9/11, he single-handedly saved more than 120 lives in the South Tower of the World Trade Center.
Bees are like
we have aggressive bees this year.
Retirement life suits Christopher Quimby. He left the hustle and bustle of lower Manhattan for a quieter life near his daughters in Short Pump.
And I'll take the seed pods out.
When the weather's nice, you can often find him in his garden.
I'll plant them in the fall.
A stickler for detail, this top executive planned well and now enjoys the fruits of his labor. But 22 years ago tonight, nothing could have prepared him for what was to come the next day.
We have a breaking news story to tell you about. Apparently, a plane has just crashed into the World Trade Center.
At exactly 8:46 on the morning of September 11th, Chris was at his desk in the office he managed on the 86th floor in the South Tower of the World Trade Center. The next 17 minutes will be indelibly etched in his mind until the day he dies.
I was talking to a gentleman in IT about some mundane thing, and then all of a sudden there was a jolt. And I won't repeat what I said, but it was holy. And then I saw flames go across my window. I saw paper go across my window.
American Airlines Flight 11 had just struck the North Tower. Chris suspected a plane accident, but maybe a small Cessna. He had no way of knowing New York was under attack. And while Chris says he didn't have a sense of imminent danger, he was responsible for his 120 employees, and instinct just kicked in.
I pulled the trigger and I said, okay, we have to leave. We had to get out of there. I don't know why. I can't give you a really good reason.
Quimby's quick thinking saved his life and the lives of everyone in his office. Workers in the government office next to his on the 86th floor opted to stay put. Sadly, they would not survive. The 90-second express elevator ride to the lobby had Chris feeling relieved. He fully expected to be back in the office by lunchtime. That is, until he stepped out onto the street, heard a noise, and looked up.
I witnessed a second plane coming in, flying low, striking our building, cutting the engines before they came in, seeing it plow through. When the plane hit, there was debris starting to fly, and I remember covering my head thinking I could get hit by something and this could be it for me.
Chris remembers running at a full sprint from a cloud of dust and debris that seemed to be chasing him. He managed to make it to a hotel lobby about a mile away, where he called his wife. No one answered, but he left a message that he was alive. Then, through a series of trips on a ferry and car rides from kind strangers, he eventually made it home where his wife was waiting, in tears, on the driveway.
He looked like the man who fell to earth. I mean, he was just literally covered in soot, white, soot, and like stuff in his hair. Like
when I ambled up the driveway, I apparently was covered in white, and we had this emotional embrace in our driveway because she didn't think she was going to see me again.
Attack on America.
In the days that followed, the constant barrage of news coverage kept his emotions raw. But Chris bottled it up inside. Even his family didn't notice.
He's very private and he's very stoic. And I said to him the next day, I was like, do you want me to stay home? And he's like, no, you just go to work. So I went to work.
But a day or two later, that wall that Chris had built around himself came tumbling down. And all it took was an early morning car ride.
And Evan drove me down to the train station a couple miles away. And that's when it really dawned on me how bad this was. The parking lot was full at 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning. And then that's the first time I broke down.
The parking lot should have been empty, a stark reminder that while he had survived, many of his neighbors in Suffern, New York, had not. In the years that followed, little things could spark bouts of deep sorrow. Chris avoided driving by airports. Just seeing the commercial jet coming in for a landing became too much to bear.
Because it really makes them keep on blooming.
But as they say, time heals all wounds. And in 2011, on an Alaskan cruise, the couple's first big trip together since the tragedy, Chris had an epiphany. He now knew 9/11 could no longer define him.
And we went to this internet shop, coffee shop, internet shop, and I'm sitting there just drinking my coffee, and there's a little TV in the corner of the room, and it's 9/11. Like, I completely forgot about it.
To you, our NBC12 Skycam. We're going to look out here to the east towards the city of Richmond on our weather box number 2 there. You see just a few scattered clouds. We've got temperatures in the mid-80s, so still pretty warm in Richmond at this hour. Our dew points in the mid-60s, so it is a touch on the humid side, and we're going to stay on the humid side the next few days before some big changes come a little bit later on this week. We have some readings a little bit cooler in outlying areas. New Kent reporting 76. We've got 75 degrees out in Louisa. It is 80 degrees in Charlottesville, and at least at this point we have clear scans on first alert Doppler radar. We had just a few isolated showers a bit earlier, and now looks mainly dry. Our rain chance only at about 10% for a stray shower for the rest of the evening. Partly cloudy skies. Temperatures dropping from the 80s into the 70s, eventually down to about 68 degrees for the overnight low. Could be a little bit of patchy fog in some spots to start our day on Tuesday, but all eyes on this front out to the west. That's going to be approaching over the next 24 hours. We'll increase the chance for a few showers and thunderstorms around here, and then look what's behind the front. We have cooler air, and more importantly, some much drier air will be settling in behind the front starting Wednesday night into Thursday. So your Tuesday forecast, it's going to be a hot day out there, a patch or two of fog early, and then a mix of clouds and sunshine. We have a slight chance for a late afternoon shower, but I do think many areas will stay dry during the day. A rain chance will actually go up tomorrow night into Wednesday. As the hour-by-hour forecast shows you, the rest of the night tonight, things are pretty quiet, just some passing clouds. Tomorrow, a mix of clouds and sunshine, and there we see hints that there may be a stray late afternoon shower or storm, but then our rain chance goes up tomorrow night after dark into the overnight, even a few showers around early Wednesday morning. Then we see drier conditions midday, maybe a few more scattered showers and storms later in the afternoon into the early evening, and then that much drier air, cooler air starts to filter in by Wednesday night. So we wake up to 61 degrees early on Wednesday morning. Thursday's high temperature 78 degrees. Beautiful weather later this week, both Thursday and Friday. Highs in the upper 70s, overnight lows will dip into the mid-50s both Friday and Saturday morning. The weekend is really looking nice with high temperatures in the lower to mid-80s, lots of sunshine, just a slight chance of a shower next Monday. Otherwise, looking for sunshine and temperatures in the low 80s. We'll have more news coming up right after this.
We're on your side tonight with a health alert. The American Red Cross asking you to roll up your sleeve as the nonprofit faces a serious blood shortage. The Red Cross says distribution to hospitals and medical centers is now far outpacing donations. Since August, blood supply levels have dropped about 25%, due in part to those back-to-back natural disasters. You can find out how you can donate. Just go to redcross.org.
Well, do you have your numbers picked out for tonight's Powerball drawing? The jackpot is an estimated $522 million, which makes it the third largest Powerball jackpot this year. The cash payout lump sum, if someone matches all 6 numbers tonight, $252.4 million. Still not too bad. This is after no tickets matched, all 6 numbers drawn on Saturday. We'll have the winning numbers tonight at 11. Now at 7, the city of Petersburg making an effort to get deadly weapons off the street. In conjunction with the Community Transformers Foundation, the city is hosting a gun buyback event at the end of the month. You must be a Petersburg resident and at least 18 years old to participate. Depending on the type of gun you turn in, you'll receive a $250 or $150 gift card. This is happening Saturday, September 30th from 8 to noon at Gilfield Baptist Church. A local center is helping veterans and first responders who are struggling.
We're on your side in our next half hour with an inside look at the new space serving those who served our country. And some small business owners taking on a major telephone company, accusing them of wrongly putting them out of business.
And we're on your side tonight, digging deeper into this class action lawsuit and what business owners should know.
Greenfront Furniture is more than a shopping experience. It's a true destination. And luckily, we're dog friendly. Whether you're exploring our 13 buildings and 1 million square feet of showroom space, or traveling to the High Bridge Trail, or just bopping around Main Street, Greenfront Furniture really gives you the perfect day for you and your best friend to shop, try out new furniture, and just have fun. And while you're here, don't forget to take a picture of your dog, hashtag Dogs at Greenfront, and share it on your social media. There's a lot of furniture stores out there, but there's only one Greenfront.
Dehydrated hair?
Hyaluronic acid for your hair.
New Elvive Hyaluron Plump by L'Oreal Paris. With hyaluronic acid to lock in moisture and hydrate for up to 72 hours. Elvive Hyaluron Plump from L'Oreal Paris.
We're worth it.
Hello, Bretman Rock. Your lashes look incredible.
Martha Stewart?
What's that in your hand?
This is the Maybelline Surreal Mascara.
From Volume. Are they real?
They're so real. Martha? Maybe it's Maybelline.
Greenfront's always had an awesome outdoor furniture collection, but now we're really doubling down with Greenfront Outdoor Living. There's really a lot of cool materials out there that look like real wood, but it's metal. It looks like real rattan, but it's weather resistant. So you get these really awesome looks, details, and textures, but it's made for the outdoors. We're getting a ton of new inventory in and a lot of stock. So this is the time to really get your outdoor living space situated for the summer. Greenfront Outdoor Living, the largest outdoor furniture destination in Virginia.
I'm Skylar Van Valkenburg, and for the past 5 years, I haven't just taught government, I've lived it. Working with teachers and parents to improve Henrico Public Schools, fighting for common sense gun safety, and protecting reproductive rights. But as any good teacher knows, the work is never done. That's why I'm running for state senate, to keep delivering on what matters for Henrico families.
Skylar Van Valkenburg, Democrat for state senate.
At Greenfront, we know it's, takes a long time to get certain pieces in, sofas, sectionals, dining tables. One thing that we have a lot of in stock and it's available right now is rugs. The cool thing is, pick it out, wrap it up, put it in your car, and you can refresh a whole space, whether it's a living room, a hallway. Again, it's just an easy way to spruce up your home. Just get a rug from Greenfront and, it's gonna look pretty good. For the largest rug selection in the country, come to Greenfront Furniture. Greenfront Furniture is more than a shopping experience. It's a true destination. And luckily, we're dog friendly. Whether you're exploring our 13 buildings and 1 million square feet of showroom space, or traveling to the High Bridge Trail, or just bopping around Main Street, Greenfront Furniture really gives you the perfect day for you and your best friend to shop, try out new furniture, and just have fun. And while you're here, don't forget to take a picture of your dog, hashtag Dogs at Greenfront, and share it on your social media. There's a lot of furniture stores out there, but there's only one Greenfront. Greenfront's always had an awesome outdoor furniture collection, but now we're really doubling down with Greenfront Outdoor Living. There's really a lot of cool materials out there that look like real wood, but it's metal. It looks like real rattan, but it's weather resistant. So you get these really awesome looks, details, and textures, but it's made for the outdoors. We're getting a ton of new inventory in and a lot of stock. So this is the time to really get your outdoor living space situated for the summer. Greenfront Outdoor Living, the largest outdoor furniture destination in Virginia.
This is 12 on your side tonight.
At 7:30, today marks 22 years since the deadliest attack on U.S. soil. How schools are helping young students understand the gravity of that day.
And it's day 12 of a desperate manhunt to find a convicted killer in Pennsylvania. Why investigators now say they're playing the long game.
Plus, timing our evening forecast. Meteorologist Ross Runner is in the First Alert Weather Center with what we can expect.
Now at 7, small business owners all across the country taking on a major telephone company. According to this new class action lawsuit, a group of franchise business owners say T-Mobile falsely promised their stores would not be closed when the company merged with Sprint.
On your side, investigator Carice Jackman has more on this lawsuit and what other business owners should know.
Outside of her family, the one thing Jean Liriano cared about deeply was being a business owner.
At the beginning, it was exciting. You're hungry and you want to go and live the American dream.
For 24 years, Liriano did live that American dream. She owned an electronics shop that sold cell phones in a neighborhood she adores.
There wasn't places like that. There wasn't a place where Hispanic people could go and make a payment in Spanish. You connect with them They bring their family members to you, and it's like an extended family.
Her store eventually started selling solely for T-Mobile. Liriano says she spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to revamp her store into a T-Mobile franchise. When T-Mobile and Sprint merged in 2018, Liriano says the company told them not to worry.
Before this, they never gave us anything to think that they were going to shut down. It was the opposite. They made us believe that we were going to grow with them.
Business owner Robert Rodriguez says he experienced the same thing.
So they basically promised, that they will keep all the stores and they will keep investing in the industry and, keep growing. But turns out that that's not really what happened. We end up getting hurt.
According to a new class action lawsuit, Rodriguez, Liriano, and dozens of other business owners claim T-Mobile played a dirty game of what they call squeeze and buy. The 26-page lawsuit claims T-Mobile knew the small business owners' agreements lasted until June 2024, but that T-Mobile, quote, conspired with its master dealer, Arc Telecom, to create an earlier and artificial termination date, and that over a period of months, T-Mobile allowed Arc Telecom to contact the owners to work them over. The business owner's complaint also says that Arc Telecom offered to buy stores for little to nothing, depriving the owners of their livelihood and their investments.
How much money did you even spend in renovating and reinvesting in your business?
Okay, about $150,000.
It's been really hard because it's okay. Because what am I gonna do now? I mean, this is what I've been doing since I got to this country. What am I gonna do?
We reached out to both Arc Telecom and T-Mobile for comment on the lawsuit. They never responded. According to the U.S. Government Accountability Office's analysis of FTC data, there were about 5,900 franchise-related complaints between 2018 and 2022. But the GAO also says many franchise owners never filed complaints with the FTC because they didn't know they could. If you go to the FTC's website, you can file a report by clicking on Job or Franchise and detailing what occurred. Liriano is glad she's speaking out, and as she waits for the lawsuit to pan out, she says she'll continue to fight while missing the customers and business she dedicated her life to.
This cannot be happening. There gotta be some regulation or something.
With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Carice Jackman.
If you have an issue or concern that you'd like me or the On Your Side investigators to look into, just reach out. Give our team an email at investigators@NBC12.com.
We're on your side with a consumer alert now. Your budget may be getting a break. Many economic experts believe things are headed in the right direction, and the Federal Reserve may hold interest rates steady next month. In July, compared to 2 years ago, the average U.S. family spent about $700 more. The Federal Reserve has boosted interest rates 11 times since March of 2022 in an effort to curb inflation. Now, experts seem more optimistic as wages have started to outpace inflation.
Here's a look at what's happening across Virginia tonight. Governor Glenn Youngkin has pardoned a Loudoun County father who was arrested during a 2021 school board meeting. That father, Scott Smith, criticized school officials after his daughter was sexually assaulted at school. One of his charges was dropped on appeal. The other was set to go to trial this month. In Virginia Beach, a 28-year-old woman is dead after a lifeguard stand fell at the ocean front. This happened early Saturday morning. Police ruled the cause of death accidental. In Lynchburg, students at EC Glass High School were sent home early today after a threatening note was found on campus. All students and staff were safely evacuated around 8:30, and police tell us they are continuing to investigate.
Certainly a messy Monday for one driver in Henrico County. Take a look. Parts of Staples Mill had to be closed today, but is about to reopen soon, and it's all because of this white paint. Henrico police say they responded at about 11 o'clock this morning. No one hurt, but several vehicles and a large portion of the road covered in paint. The driver of the truck that was carrying the paint is charged with failure to secure a load. The Virginia Department of Environmental Quality is on scene helping with the cleanup.
The man responsible for explicit and politically divisive signs in Henrico is facing charges now, but the charges aren't connected to what's on the sign, rather where the signs are placed. We have blurred out parts of the image because we cannot air profanity. The First Amendment protects this speech, but frustrated residents argue the signs fall under obscenity, which is not protected. Let's get over now to the First Alert Weather Center. A break from extreme heat today, but we're still feeling that humidity out there. There's a chance we could see a few storms early this week.
But here's the good news, a break from the humidity. Meteorologist Ross Runner here to tell us about it. Ross.
That's right, Curt and Jasmine. Some beautiful weather is coming by the end of the week. I want you to go ahead and make some plans for the weekend as well, because that's looking great too. First Alert Doppler radar tonight. We are scanning the skies, not finding much across central Virginia. Of course, we had some beneficial rain over the weekend. A couple of stray showers out there today, but not much at all showing up around the area this afternoon. We had one lonely shower that I could find here. This is just south of Scottsville up in Albemarle County, just drifting along perhaps into northern Buckingham County. But any showers this evening will be few and far between across central Virginia. What we're watching is a front back over the Midwest and the Great Lakes states. That is going to be tracking to the south and east over the next 24 to 36 hours. As it gets closer, it will increase the chance for some scattered showers and some thunderstorms around here. I think our best chance of rain actually will come tomorrow night as you're sleeping, but we'll have a lingering chance into Wednesday. And then behind that front, we have some cooler and drier air, so a taste of fall that they're feeling over the Midwest and the Upper Plains states. We will get our taste of that a little bit later on this week. So this evening does look pretty quiet. Again, we could still see a stray shower, but I would think most of us will stay dry, and those temperatures around 80 degrees at 8 o'clock will drop back through the 70s, eventually into the upper 60s for overnight lows. Coming up, we'll track that chance for rain with your hour-by-hour forecasts, also track those cooler temperatures, and also I'll have the latest on the tropics. We have Lee, and we also still have Margot out there. I'll have all the details in just a bit. Jasmine, Curt.
All right, thank you, Ross. Now at 7, Warriors Healing Warriors. This is the mission of a new treatment facility in Caroline County. Warrior Hearts opened up their center with a goal to help military members and first responders who struggle with PTSD and substance abuse. Now at 7, Desiree Montilla gives us a look inside of the new space.
Along Warriors Way in Caroline County, doors of hope are opening as part of Warriors Heart, a new inpatient substance abuse treatment facility for military members, veterans, and first responders.
This is the folks that I served with. I've lost friends to suicide. I've seen friends struggle with addiction.
A personal mission for Executive Director Michael Marotta.
I've had that moment. I've had those low points in my life, and I know what it feels like to turn and not see anybody there to give you a helping hand, and so we want to be part of that solution.
The 60-bed center has on-site clinicians and therapists, along with canine and equine therapy, to help those struggling with drug and alcohol addiction, PTSD, and trauma.
We also have art therapy, metal shop, and wood shop available for our warriors as well.
Warriors Heart has a center in Bandera, Texas.
Just the warriors healing the warriors, right? It was just getting there and recognizing that I wasn't alone.
A program Shane St. John credits for saving his life.
I retired in 2017 for PTSD. I struggled. I was in a really dark place. I did it for my children. And in the process, I was able to find myself.
Through this 42-day program, Marotta hopes to give service members a space to heal.
This isn't the end. There is possibility, there's opportunity, there is help. I don't like the thought of people struggling alone. We are a resource.
You're not alone. Your mission's not over. You have purpose here on this earth. And when you're ready, we're ready to receive you and help you get through that.
The first 2 clients will arrive to this facility this week with the goal to phase more in down the line. To learn more about this program, head on over to our website, NBC12.com. On your side in Caroline County, Desiree Montilla, NBC12 News.
Thanks, Desi. Students in Louisa County found a unique way to honor first responders today. Over the past few weeks, elementary students created more than 300 thank you cards. Firefighters and police officers from throughout the county stopped by to pick up those cards today. And everyone got a picture in front of the fire truck. The school division hopes to make this an annual event. And most students in school today weren't alive or have no memory of the 9/11 attacks. So what are schools doing to teach kids the importance of these tragic events that forever changed our nation? Henry Graff spoke with Richmond Public Schools about what they're doing to help kids understand.
Richmond Public Schools takes teaching what happened on 9/11 in stages for its students.
The students in the younger grades that have no recollection, right, of 9/11. What we may do is show some imagery.
But not of the hijacked plane striking, nor the Twin Towers falling. These students are too young to grasp that, but they can understand concepts like safety and community. The attack not only rocked New York, but also Virginia.
Talk about how these buildings were destroyed, how they came down, and that many brave men and women gave of themselves in order to make sure that everyone was safe.
In later grades, students learned about the politics unfolding during that turbulent time and war, the fallout from the 9/11 attacks. But for RPS, it's not just facts, dates, and people. It's about understanding.
We connect students to the humanity of the people. That's the way that good teaching is done. It affirms the humanity of people. And when we do that and we understand their culture, we understand their language, we understand the way in which they interacted with the world, we humanize folks.
RPS says teaching 9/11 history 20 years later is becoming like teaching history. The teachers that are in the classrooms right now didn't live through themselves, like Pearl Harbor. On your side, in Richmond, Henry Graff, NBC 12 News.
We are just days away from a potential automaker strike. We're on your side with the latest on negotiations and what union members are demanding.
And rescue crews in Morocco racing against the clock to find survivors following a deadly earthquake. We'll take you to the epicenter next at 7.
All right, guys, be mindful if you're leaving the East End westbound along Williamsburg Road or Williamsburg Avenue. Those westbound travel lanes will be closed between Stony Run Road and 31st Street. Now, this is part of a big sewer project. And when I say a big project, I'm talking they'll be working in the area until November of 2024. Now, we'll see different parts of Williamsburg Road and Avenue impacted and affected. But as of right now, expect those westbound lanes to be closed in between Stony Run Road and 31st Street. This will also impact your commute heading out to some of those trails. It's not too far away from that Fulton Hill area. So just giving you the first alert so you can plan ahead. And when you join us on 12 News today, I'll be sure to get you around any of those closures. I'm Candace Smith in the First Alert Traffic Center.
Thanks, Candace. And a reminder, you can join Candace and the rest of the 12 News Today team starting bright and early at 4:30 a.m. Candace has the latest on the commute. Andrew Frieden will be in the First Alert Weather Center timing out your day. And you can catch headlines with Sarah and Ashley.
Good news if you need to fill up your tank. Gas prices are on the downswing. AAA says the national average sits at $3.83, down about a penny from a month ago. Meantime, in the Commonwealth, we're paying an average of $3.56 a gallon and down slightly across Richmond at an average of $3.52 per gallon.
Now at 7, former President Trump asking a federal judge overseeing his election subversion case to recuse herself. Trump's attorney claimed Judge Tanya Chutkan has made public comments about the former president and his connection to January 6th. This isn't the first time Trump's team has used this strategy. He previously tried removing the judge overseeing the New York criminal case. That one related, of course, to hush money payments. And in Morocco, rescuers racing against the clock to find survivors in the rubble 3 days after that powerful earthquake. Right now, we know more than 2,600 people are dead. 2,500 are recovering from injuries. Authorities only expect the death toll to rise. This team is close to the epicenter of the quake. They're hoping to find some signs of life.
Time is running out to avoid a historic strike at America's 3 unionized automakers. General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis have until midnight Friday to reach a deal with the union. Members are fighting for increased wages, restored pensions, and protections against job losses as production shifts to electric vehicles. A recent Gallup poll shows the public is on their side, with 61% believing unions help the economy rather than hurt it.
It's day 12 of the manhunt for a convicted killer in Pennsylvania. Investigators say the search for escaped inmate Danilo Cavalcante has now entered a new phase, with state and local enforcement saying they're playing the long game. This comes as investigators say the suspect stole a dairy delivery van, changed his appearance, and then slipped out of their perimeter. State police say they do believe he is still in Chester County.
An Ohio murder suspect is dead following a standoff in West Virginia. Police say the suspect took 3 hostages at a gas station in Wayne County. The situation ended when the 54-year-old was shot by police and taken to a nearby hospital where he was pronounced dead. All 3 hostages were safely rescued and didn't appear to have any injuries. That suspect was wanted in connection with the murder of his stepfather, who was found dead in Ohio Friday night from a gunshot.
After highs of the upper 80s late this afternoon, we're starting to cool things off just a bit here north and west of town in some of our neighborhoods. 78 degrees in Windham. We've still got about 80 degrees in Goochland. It is 79 at Springfield Park in the west end of Henrico County. Down to the south, a bit warmer around Ettrick and Petersburg, still reporting mid 80s, but upper 70s. Out towards Matoaka and on the east side of Henrico County and eastern Hanover County, we have temperatures in the upper 70s to right around 80. It is 80 degrees currently in Dory Park. Clear scans on first alert Doppler radar. For the most part, we do have this one tiny shower northern parts of Buckingham County. I think most of the area will stay dry, other than a very isolated shower as we go through the evening. Overnight low temperatures will generally be in the 60s, upper 60s, a little bit warmer here in Richmond. Some of the outlying areas will be in the low and mid 60s, even lower 70s down towards Norfolk early on Tuesday morning. And then tomorrow's forecast high temperature right around 90 degrees. So we're still hanging on to the summer heat and the humidity as well. And notice there will be a slight chance for a shower, but that's going to be later in the day tomorrow. Most of the day looks dry. We're in the 60s early on in the morning. Notice our midday temperature in the mid 80s will peak later in the afternoon with a slight chance for a shower or storm. Our rain chance will actually go up a bit tomorrow night as our cold front out to the west gets a little bit closer. So this evening on the hour-by-hour forecast looks rather quiet. Maybe another stray shower or two, but even tomorrow, don't look for a lot of rain during the day. It's more so tomorrow night when our rain chance does appear like it will ramp up across the area. So I don't want you to be shocked if you hear some rain on your rooftop even after midnight tomorrow night. And we'll start our day on Wednesday with some scattered showers in the area, and then a few more scattered showers, maybe a rumble of thunder in the afternoon as our front is crossing the area, but not a washout of a day by any stretch. In the tropics, I talked about Margot. That is way out in the Atlantic. This is forecast to become a hurricane, but it's not going to be a bother to anyone. And of course, Lee is a concern. In the short term, is expected to begin making a turn off towards the north and northwest. Right now a Category 3, but the good news is it will weaken in the coming days as it encounters some wind shear, cooler waters along its path as it gets a little farther north in the Atlantic, tracking between Bermuda and the east coast of the U.S. And then by later this weekend, all eyes on eastern New England. They could see some impacts, at the very least some tropical storm conditions here are a possibility, along with some heavy rain. Again, that would be later in the upcoming weekend. So our 7-day forecast is definitely looking better if you like the cooler temperatures and you like the lower humidity. Still rather warm and humid the next 2 days. Once the front moves on by Wednesday evening, we drop down close to 60 degrees. On Thursday morning, there will likely be some 50s in outlying areas. And then Thursday and Friday, lots of sunshine, low humidity, temperatures in the upper 70s. Overnight lows will be in the 50s, both Friday and Saturday morning, even Sunday morning. The weekend is a little bit warmer with temperatures in the low 80s, but Curt is looking great.
Yeah, no complaints here. Thanks, Ross. Smucker's is buying the Hostess brand at a deal worth about $5.6 billion. Smucker's, known for its peanut butter, jelly, and coffee products, will pay more than $34 per share in a cash and stock deal. The company will also acquire about $900 million in debt. Explorers find a mysterious golden orb on the seafloor, and beachgoers marvel at ocean waves that glow in the dark. That's coming up in today's Take a Look at This.
And cases of COVID-19 are on the rise nationwide, and some are having trouble finding tests. Next, we're on your side with why you shouldn't be too concerned. Now at 7, a team of ocean explorers found a sunken golden treasure, but it's not what you think.
And actually, even they can't really explain it. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
Deep sea explorers were at a loss for words after discovering a mysterious golden orb on the ocean floor.
Is this some sort of encrusting sponge?
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that.
Scientists aboard the NOAA ship Okeanos Explorer were full of questions as they poked and prodded the bizarre iridescent specimen, which they say they found roughly 2 miles beneath the surface in the Gulf of Alaska. Video of the discovery was live streamed and later shared to NOAA's YouTube page, which has been a literal treasure trove of weird and wild underwater discoveries over the years. Scientists collected a sample of the orb for study in their lab. Not sure if it sets the gold standard for bizarre finds, but it certainly left the team searching for answers.
I don't know what to think about this.
Above the surface, an odd ocean voyage was halted before it even started. Coast Guard authorities arrested a man attempting to cross the Atlantic, he says for charity, in a giant floating hamster wheel-like vessel. Officials say this isn't the man's first attempt at the journey, but given this time he engaged in a multi-day standoff while allegedly making threats while armed with a knife, it very well may be his last attempt. Finally, beachgoers were glowing as they gathered to marvel at bright blue bioluminescent waves that lit up the nighttime surf in Southern California. Members of the Facebook group Bioluminescence in Orange County shared stunning images of the amazing natural phenomenon, which occurs when churning waves cause a chemical reaction in natural light-emitting organisms like algae blooms. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
All right, well, many Americans say they're having trouble finding at-home COVID tests as the number of cases rises in the U.S. But pharmacies and manufacturers say there's no shortage of tests. Major pharmacy chains, including CVS, Walgreens, and Rite Aid, have all reported an increase in sales. But they say they have the inventory to meet the needs of their customers.
So how concerned should you be about COVID right now? Tomorrow night at 7, we'll answer that question when we go in depth, talking live with local health experts. Also, find out what you need to know as we head into the fall and holiday season. And we'll talk about breaking news today and the COVID boosters that were just approved. That's tomorrow night at 7 here on NBC 12.
And let's take a quick look at your primetime lineup tonight. All new American Ninja Warrior next at 8, and the remaining ninjas compete in Las Vegas for that $1 million prize. Then at 10, the weakest link. Of course, your breaking news weather headlines happening at 11. That does it for us at 7. We thank you for joining.
And of course, we are back tonight on NBC 12 News at 11. Certainly hope to see you then. Have a great night.